A very good morning and warm welcome to all my dear students. Today we all are going to learn about the reproductive system of the mammalian. In case of the mammals, we all are going to learn the reproductive system with the special example human. Now, see students, previously we have learned reproductive system from the Eurochordate till the aves, right? We have seen the various aspects of the reproduction in them. In case of the mammal also, you will be observing mammals. They are the higher most class and they are the viviparous. Till now we have seen the cases the animals were the oviparous, right? So now we all are going to learn about the mammals. So they are dioecious. Definitely they show the distinct male and the female, and they have the internal fertilization. Earlier also I have explained you the definition of the internal fertilization. Internal fertilization means sperms are directly transferred into the female's body or female's reproductive tract, and inside the female reproductive tract fertilization occurs. So the egg or will not travel outside the media or something. Now they are viviparous. They give the young ones birth, and they have the accessory structures. Let us talk in detail directly. Now male, they show the external genitalia as well as the internal genitalia. External genitalia is actually the copulatory organ, that is the penis, that consists of the root, body, shaft and the glands, as you can see here. And they have the glans penis, corpora cavernosa, that is called as an erectile tissue, and corpus spongium, that surrounds the urethra, and the prepuce, which is also called as a foreskin. Now when I talk about the scrotum, actually it is the testis bag which holds the testis into the place. We all know that the human testis, they are descended from the abdominal cavity to outside body, because the process of the sperm formation, that is the spermatogenesis, that requires bit little less temperature, which is provided outside the body. So that's why this testis, they are descended into a skin bag, that is called as the scrotum, and scrotum is divided from inside with a special muscles, that is called as the sperm daughter's muscle, that allows the wrinkling of the scrotum. So when the testes, now see in the previous examples also we all have seen that testes get enlarged at the time of the breeding season, and also all such situations will not arise, because we all know that in case of the human, they get the ejaculation sickness on site on the, and all this cycle depends on the sexual hormones. Now when I talk about the internal organs, so their internal organs are the gonads and the ducts which are carrying the sperm. So the gonads are the pair of testes that are responsible for the spermatogenesis. So this spermatogenesis happens into the seminiferous tubules. These are the seminiferous tubules. So these are the minute structures which supports the spermatogenesis, and they have the Leydig cells that are, and interstitial cells, those supports for nourishment and the formation of the hormones, especially the Leydig cell. They produces the testosterone, and this all structure, that means all the seminiferous tubules, they are enclosed into a fibrous capsule, and this fibrous capsule is called as a tunica albuginea, this pink color which you are observing here. And thereafter from the testes, the spermatozoa, they are transferring into the highly coiled structure, that is called as the epididymis, and this epididymis is responsible for carrying and holding the spermatozoa, I'm sorry. And here this is the site where the sperms are getting mature. Now next part is the vasa differentia. Vasa differentia is a muscular tube which will support the transfer of the penis from the epididymis to the ampulla, and in the ampulla region it is going to the storage. Okay, now see vast difference here. In the later stage, when I'm going to teach you about the accessory glands, you will come to know that the vasa differentia will also receive the semen. So actually seminiferous tubules secretion. So this secretion will helps in more enriching or keeping that sperm into a live and the viable stage. Then next part is the seminal vesicle. Students, three important accessory glands are there into the male reproductive system. I am not going to discuss it now because you will see your syllabus 1.2 is accessory gland, so that we will be discussing in the accessory gland part. So right now I will just brief you about it. So first gland is the seminal vesicle, that is responsible for the production of the seminal fluid. Approximate 60 to 70% semen is comprised of your seminal vesicle ejaculation and secretion, not ejaculation, I'm sorry. Prostate gland, it contributes the fluid to the semen and it surrounds the urethra. Next gland is the bulbourethral gland that secretes the lubrication so that the intercourse will be smoother. Then next are the ejaculatory ducts formed by the union of the vas deferens and the seminal vesicle, and all these they are forming opening into the prostatic urethra, and from that it continues to the penis. Then next semen. Semen is the fluid which contains the sperm and the secretions from the accessory glands, which we all are going to learn in more detail into the next slide. Next we will be talking about the female reproductive system. So they also possess the external genitalia and internal organs. So external genitalia in case of the female is a vulva, which comprise of the mons pubis, labia majora and minora, clitorius, that is an erectile tissue which gets activated at the time of the sexual intercourse, or you can say get erect with at the time of the excitement. Then vestibule, vaginal urethral opening is there. Then hymen is there. Hymen is the covering of the urethra and it gets ruptured at the time of the first intercourse. Then bulb of vestibules are there. Then greater vestibular glands are there. Then accessory structures are there which supports the uterus and labia majora. So these are the broad ligaments which supports the uterus and the round ligaments which are extended from the uterus into the labia majora. Now, internal organ comprises of the gonads and supportive structure which are going to protect the egg and which will nourish the developing embryo, that is called as a womb or the uterus. So let us talk about the gonad first. So female possesses the pair of gonads, and this is ovaries, pair of ovaries. This ovary have the cortex and the medulla region. Cortex region contains of the follicle, and these follicles are present at the time of birth, but they get matured at the time of the sex hormone. So all these follicles, these are formed at the time of the development of the female only, but their development or their maturation is halted into the metaphase and metaphase 2, so that whenever they are having the union of the male gamete, because they are haploid, so whenever the union of the male gamete will happen, so their development or you can say their cell cycle will continue. So their cell cycle is restricted into the metaphase 2. So we'll not go much into the cell biology, don't worry about it, but it is important for you to know that they have the follicles which are present into the cortex region, and after that medulla is the inner portion and in which the under the action of the sex hormones the maturation of this follicle happen, and when the follicles get mature into the and it converts into a proper Graafian follicle. It releases from the ovary. Now in previous example also I have taught you that whenever the ovulation happen, so this ova releases into the body cavity, but in case of the human female what happens that their fallopian tubes, और जैसे कि हमने previous case में UV tubes देखे थे, they are close, very closely placed. Why? Because here the fertilization will not take place into the body cavity, as in the previous example we all have seen. Okay, fertilization will happen into the body cavity, and after that fertilized ova will be collected by that oviduct. So this will not happen. So for that particular reason, the fallopian tubes are placed very closely. ऐसे if you will see the diagram, तो ऐसे लग रहा है कि वो ओवरी को पकड़े हुए हैं, right? So exactly it is that close, so that the mature will be immediately captured by this fallopian tube, and they will be having means they will be meeting, the fusion of the gamete will be happening inside the fallopian tube. So when this ova will release from the ovary, its remnants will remain present into the ovary in the form of the corpus luteum. So this corpus luteum is responsible for supporting that ova. कि भाई अब तो वहां जा रहा है, so whatever is the fertilization will happen, so that will support the pregnancy by secreting the progesterone, as well as it will maintain the LH, that is the luteinizing hormone balance. Why? Because the luteinizing hormone is responsible for the ovulation. So these are the events, and we are not going in detail of the menstrual cycle and the ovulation cycle here, because our topic just focuses on the reproductive system, so we are not going to focus on that part. Next part is the uterus. Uterus is a very important part, because this is a womb which is taking care of the baby. So this is main part of the uterus is the body. Then next part, the area above the fallopian tube is called as the fundus. This is the uterine fundus, you can see here. And next part is the cervix, that is lower opening into the vagina, and that produces the mucus, and this plays a very important role at the time of the parturition, that means the delivery of a baby. And endometrium, that is the innermost lining of the uterus, that have a very great importance because of the menstrual cycle. The lining thickness that changes at the time of the various stages of the menstrual cycle. Let us talk about the fallopian tube. Fallopian tube are responsible for the transport of the ovum to the uterus. Point to be noted here, that they are going unfertilized ovum is going to transfer from the ovary to the uterus. And then next part is the infundibulum. Infundibulum is a finger-like projection of the fallopian tube, which are just situated near the ovary. It just look like it's holding the ovary. And the widened part, ampulla is present, that is connected, and this ampulla plays a very important role. This is the widened part. And see, whenever sperm travels, so sperm travels till this region, and actual fertilization take place here. And once the fertilized egg is produced, that egg will stay there at the blastocyst stage, and after that it travels and it travels and it settles somewhere here into the uterine wall, and it implants itself, and that marks the pregnancy. Then the last part is the vagina. Vagina is a muscular canal with the urethra and opening into the vestibular near the urethra and the cervix. Hormones are very important in case of the male and female reproductive system. So male reproductive system hormones are testosterone, which are produced by the Leydig cells. Then follicle stimulating hormone, that helps into the stimulation of spermatogenesis. Luteinizing hormone stimulates the testosterone production. And in case of the female, estrogen, the feminine hormone, which are produced by the ovarian follicle. And next most important hormone, progesterone, which is initially produced by the corpus luteum, that supports the pregnancy, and on the later stage, or you can say the advanced stage of the pregnancy, it is produced by the placenta. Then follicle stimulating hormone are responsible. The development of the follicle luteinizing hormone triggers the ovulation, and maintenance of the corpus luteum in the early stage of pregnancy is carried out by the human gonadotropic hormone. Now let us talk about the accessory reproductive glands in human. Now, see students, accessory reproductive glands plays a very important role. Now, see these are the accessory glands, but if these glands are not working properly, it may even cause the sterility. Okay, so these are very important glands because they support, uh, they secrete the special secretion, and their secretion supports the intercourse, that supports the gamete viability, mortality, and all. So first we will be talking about the accessory gland into the human male. In the case of the human male, you will find that the accessory glands are very important, and that includes the seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and the bulbourethral gland. All these glands contribute for the formation of the semen, which is essential for the successful fertilization. And this semen is responsible for the motility and the viability of the sperms. So these are very important. So when I talk about the seminal vesicle, you can see this is the urinary bladder, and just above this purple color gland you are observing, this is the seminal vesicle gland. So you can say it is located posterior to the urinary bladder, and this gland is convoluted tubular structure, approximately you can say it is of 5 centimeter in length, and it merges with the vasa deferens. You have seen in the case of the male reproductive system, I told you that epididymis continues with the vasa differentia. You remember that structure. So it is merging with the vasa differentia from the ejaculatory duct, and its function is the production of the seminal fluid, which constitute about 60 to 70% of the total volume of semen. The fluid is alkaline. Now see, this is very important that semen should be alkaline in nature, because if you will see the women female vaginal environment, so it is approximate 3.4, it varies 3.4 to 4 pH, but usually the environment is acidic. So when the sperms will be exposed to that acidic environment, they will die. So that's why this fluid is alkaline in nature, which neutralize the acidic environment of the female reproductive tract. And apart from that, it is having the nourishing elements like fructose, which will provide the energy for the sperm, and it also contains the prostaglandin, which supports the motility and transport through the female reproductive tract. And it prostaglandin is also responsible for constricting the female reproductive gland, so that the sperm will move very faster rate to the reproductive. You have seen that the sperm have to travel from the vagina till the fallopian tube, so it's such a long distance. So this elements will support for the movement and the motility of the sperm. It also secretes certain protein and enzyme that facilitate the sperm coagulation and the subsequent liquefaction, as well as it enhances the motility of the sperm. Then next gland is the prostaglandin. You can see it here. It is just situated below the urinary bladder. The first gland, seminiferous tubules, which we have seen, it is posterior, and this gland is the present behind or below the urinary bladder, and it is present into the prostatic urethra. It composed of the glandular and the fibromuscular tissue. Now these tissues are divided into the various zones like peripheral, central, transitional, and anterior fibromuscular stroma. And the function, now see, opposite to the previous, it secretes the slightly acidic fluid. Approximate 20 to 30% semen volume is made up of that. Now see, this acidic fluid comprised of the citrate enzymes like prostate specific antigen or PSA. Also it comprised of the prostate specific acidic phosphate. Why? Because it has some see, sperm is the exterior body which is entering into the female vagina. So to avoid any immune resistance, it is helping. and it also exhibits the antimicrobial property, and it maintains the seminal fluid sterility. So whatever antimicrobial activity, fructose and all are there, na? So to avoid any such thing, it is supporting, it plays a crucial role into the semen liquefaction and post ejaculation, vital for the sperm motility. The last gland is the bulbourethral gland, which is also called as the corpus gland. It is the smallest gland amongst all the accessory gland. It is a pad gland. It is each one is about the pea size, which is located inferior to the prostate gland at the base of the penis. Now position within the urinogenital diaphragm, and it opens into the spongy urethra directly. Now see, as it is directly opening into the urethra, its function is something like that. It is responsible for lubricating the sperm mass. So it just produces a clear mucus like pre-ejaculate fluid during the sexual arousal, and this fluid is alkaline in nature, which will neutralize the acidic residue into the urethra before the semen passage. So first thing which will secrete at the time of intercourse is the bulbourethral gland or corpus gland secretion, and also it acts as a lubricant for the urethra, and it facilitates the sperm passage during the sexual intercourse. So overall, these glands are responsible for the formation of the semen. So semen is actually the combined secretion of all these glands plus the sperms. So this seminal fluid provides the nutrient and energy. Prostatic fluid enhances the sperm viability and motility, and bulbourethral fluid, it lubricates and neutralizes the urethra. Now, how the ejaculation process happen at, see, first of all, at the time of the intercourse, when the ejaculation happen, when the successful fitting of the panels happens, so at the time of the ejaculation, seminal vesicle and prostate gland secretion are expelled into the prostatic urethra, that will followed by the sperm release from the vas differentia. Then again the bulbourethral gland will secrete first, ensuring all the urethral lubrication and neutralization before the semen passage. So overall, all these events are happening. Once again, I repeat: first, bulbourethral gland will secrete its fluid so that the lubrication will happen. Then you will observe that the sperm will release with the semen. Now let us talk about the accessory reproductive gland into the human female. Now we all know that the female reproductive system is placed in a way that there is no much movement of the you can say the ova. Ova is present inside the female body. It do not have to travel. So there is no need of such secretion for the traveling of that ovas, right? So for that particular reason, the female reproductive glands, accessory female reproductive glands, are made only for the purpose of the lubrication. So a successful intercourse will happen. So overall, basically, we will see the three glands. So all these glands are having important role in maintaining the lubrication for the sexual intercourse, as well as for the purpose of the, you can say, maintenance of the pH and the moisture environment into the vagina of the female. So the first gland is the Bartholin's gland. It is situated on the each side of the vaginal opening, as you can see in this schematic diagram. And its function, it secretes mucus like fluid in response to the sexual stimulation. It lubricates the vaginal opening to facilitate the comfortable sexual intercourse, as well as it aids into the maintaining the vaginal pH, as well as is balance the moisture. Next gland is the Skene's gland, that is also called as the paraurethral gland. It's situated near the urethral opening. This is the Skene gland opening, and it is embedded within the wall of the urethra. Its function is to produce the fluid. Now see here, this particular fluid helps into the sweating or the ejaculation of the female. It also lubricate the urethral opening and surrounding tissue during the sexual activity, so that the successful intercourse will happen. and it is just analog to the male prostate gland in terms of the function and the location. Next is the lesser vestibular, which is present throughout the vestibule area near the vaginal opening, and it secretes a mucus-like fluid that enhances the vaginal lubrication, as well as it assists into the maintaining the vaginal pH and preventing the dryness. So this is all about the accessory gland of the female reproductive tract, and its clinical signification is that the Bartholin gland can develop the cyst or the abscesses, which will lead into the discomfort, and definitely it requires the medical attention. Sexual disinfection of this gland can result into the vaginal dryness or the pain during the intercourse, as well as proper lubrication from this gland is essential for successful intercourse, as well as the transfer of the sperm and successful fertilization. Although the male semen comprises of all the fluid or all the necessity things, it is loaded with successful intercourse, but still the female vaginal gland, although in many books you will not find about the female accessory gland, but still this female accessory glands are very much important. So this is all about this unit. Student, the notes of this particular unit will be uploaded into the description box of this lecture, and if you have any doubt, feel free to ask me, and you can whatever comments you will write, and if these are definitely good comments and positive for betterment of the lecture, these are definitely accepted. And if you have any doubt, you can ask into the comment box, and feel free to ask anything regarding the topic. Thank you very much.